No, no, no. No, this is a much different take on blue-black control than anything we've seen, as Ali does sit here at 6-1. We've got 4 Bio Blights, some Heroes Downfalls, 4 Treasure Cruise, and 4 Dig Through Time.
Whoa.
That's
Whoa there, Cowboy.
A lot of those. He also has 3 Ashioks. I imagine that's his other win condition.
They're legacy playable. I like this. He's taken all the legacy playables in the format. You know, he's got 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Dig, 4 Treasure Cruise. What format are we playing here? He's maxing out on all the best cards.
There's a lot of discard, too. 4 Thoughtseize and 4 Despise, and then 3 copies of Perilous Vault. So this is a very different take from anything we've seen in blue-black control. Ali, well, he's a former national champion, so he knows what he's doing here. He's up a game with his take on blue-black control. He's playing against Justin Cavenaugh, who is playing Obzon mid-range. You see the record, 6-1 versus 5-1-1.
Ali Aintrazi, 2011 U.S. national champion, I believe.
I believe you are correct. He is the last national champion. I know that for sure. So maybe it was 2013, but either way, very, very skilled player. Does have an invitational top 8 to his name as well. We don't get to see him as much anymore, but it's always a delight when we do. He's going to select something here with Thoughtseize. You see an Obzon Charm, a Sorin, a Sylvan Caryatid, a Hero's Downfall, Temple of Malady, and Temple of Plenty. Those are the lands. Aintrazi says, get your Obzon Charm out of here.
Interesting. This overloading on discards is a really interesting take on the mid-range metagame. You have some great early turns. It does give your opponents some ability to top deck you, but I do like what Ali's done with blue-black quite a bit here.
There's a Caryatid past the turn back. Or Borg the draw. Yeah, this is what I'm digging about this standard format is here's a Despise. Top card, oof. Okay. And Elspeth. So now he's got 2 Planeswalkers to choose from, but he's going to take Sorin. There's Orborg and passing the turn back. What I love about this format is, if I told you he was playing blue-black control, you got an idea in your head of what you thought it was. Not even close.
And what a huge top deck for Justin Cavenaugh here, though. He draws Siege Rhino. You see it dissolve in Ali's hand. That sneaks under the counter spell. 3's Ali, and it's going to do more.
And Ali does have a Hero's Downfall in his hand. He also has a Despise, as you mentioned, as he plays a Dismal Backwater and gains a life. So he has a way to get the Siege Rhino off the table. It's just a timely top deck there. He's going to take 4 points of damage from the Rhino, so he's going to go down to 13. Cavenaugh does have a land.
Untapped, too.
But as you mentioned, I believe Ali does have a Dissolve.
Yep. And this is still a price, so Ali's going to dissolve the Elspeth here, but he would have loved to have not... If, say, Justin's land comes into play tapped there, Ali could go end step, Hero's Downfall on the Rhino, untap, Despise the Planeswalker, still have my Dissolve. It would have been a much stronger showing.
Well, Dissolve will take care of that. Top card's going to go to the bottom here for Aintrazi, so he will draw a card. He'll play an island. You see the Hero's Downfall. He also has a copy of Prognostic Sphinx. He'll pass the turn back, hope his opponent doesn't peel a good one. Cavenaugh will draw a card in with the Rhino. Aintrazi says, I will take 4 more. I'm down to 9. Cavenaugh with just a Temple. Top card. Going to the bottom. Coast is clear for the Downfall now. Cavenaugh's only card is a Hero's Downfall of his own. There's Prognostic Sphinx. Dare you to peel a good one, Justin. How'd he do? He didn't do that good. He's just going to pass the turn back.
Pass it back. That looks good for Ali. Remember, this is the 1 win con. There's only 1 Sphinx in this deck.
Now the sideboard, I'll take a little look here. Well,
he's got a second one. Okay, so that's...
He has a second one. He also has a Perlic Ancient, and he has 2 copies of Grind Clock. Sure.
I'm a fan.
I knew you would be.
I'm a fan. All right. You don't need any other way to win once you have the clock.
Oh, everyone's going deep in deck building here in Richmond. This has been awesome. I think Ali may have a Treasure Cruise here in his hand. Yeah, he's reaching for his graveyard, so you know he's delving.
I need to save this deck list. I know I might have to do some deck building.
You want to do your own personal deck tech with Ali?
I think my next FNM, we have a really sweet deck I'm gonna run. It's gonna grind clock. We're gonna move the grind clocks to the main. You know.
It's a Flooded Strand. I don't know if you want to do that. Flooded Strand is gonna come into play. What is this gonna be? Is it a Rhino? It's a Sorin. Does he have an answer to this? I suppose his answer might just be on the table. And Prognostic Sphinx. Sorin's going to tick down. It's going to provide a Vampire token. Justin will pass the turn back over to Aintrazi. Aintrazi will untap those 4 lands and the Sphinx, take a draw. You see his life total. He is at 9, so he's a little bit low. Here comes the Sphinx. Not yet. Downfall. Make you discard.
Ali's probably fine with that. It does save Sorin for a turn.
Yep. Those cards in the graveyard are good for him since he has 4 digs and 4 treasure cruises in his deck. So he doesn't mind as those cards are kind of an extension of his hand, honestly, with how his deck's trying to operate. There goes Perilous Vault, so that means the Sphinx will be tapped.
And just to fill up the graveyard, I mean, how can you play 4 Dig, 4 Treasure Cruise? I want to talk about the deck building here. 4 Polluted Delta, 2 Bloodstained Mire, 1 Flooded Strand, and an Evolving Wilds, all to fill the graveyard on Ollie's side.
Hey, don't be afraid to pay full price for those cards either. Here's an attack for 2. Cavenaugh going to play a Temple of Silence. Top card's going to go to the bottom, so now the Sphinx is unlocked again. You can see in Aintrazi's hand, he does have a counterspell and Dissolve. One of the other things, too, we talk about discarding, putting cards in the graveyard with Prognostic Sphinx. Of course, you can kind of control how large your graveyard is, and there will be draw steps, like the Despise he just drew, where I'm happy to discard that card.
Sure. In a roundabout way, if you have a Treasure Cruise, you can turn that late-game Despise into a mana. You can just discard it to Prognostic Sphinx.
Yeah, and that's
and
exactly what
then,
I
and
just
then
did.
delve it. Yeah.
And you might dig now, too. Yeah, I love this. Because, you know, the other thing, too, is that when we see people casting Dig, I'll just cast Dig for 2 mana. How about I cast Dig for 6 mana and keep my graveyard pretty healthy?
Well, then your next Dig can also be 6 mana.
Yep. He can chain them together a lot easier than a lot of other decks normally would. So now he gets 2 cards, puts the 5 to the bottom. That's another card added to the graveyard.
How do you feel about getting Dig Through Time with Dig Through Time? Awesome or stupid?
I like it
Okay.
a lot, actually. Way back when, I know this will surprise some people, Jerry T tricked me into playing Teachings, and the correct play oftentimes was Teachings for Teachings.
Oh, it's so great.
So I did that a time or two. Now here's a Pearl Lake Ancient. And we're going red zone now. It's in for 6. Let's make it 9 and a little Scry 3. If he wants to Scry, I might want that trigger. Okay, there we go. A couple of digs.
More cards.
Those will stay on top.
More cards.
Maybe. We'll see how he wants to order them. Yeah, they're all going to stay on top. Pearl Lake Ancient is going to get blocked there by Carry Added. But Ollie is running away with it now. He's got a full grip. He's got a Dissolve and a Disdainful Stroke. Cavenaugh's draw steps, well, they don't matter all that much. There's an attack for 2, but Ollie's using his life total as a resource. He's down to 5.
And Cavenaugh just playing off the top of his deck. The Scry 3s from the Prognostic Sphinx certainly are adding up here.
Yeah, it's really hard to overcome that. I know he's not drawing 3 cards, but he's making sure that he doesn't draw any bad cards.
It's interesting about the control deck. So Dig Through Time and Prognostic Sphinx are both these really heavy card selection tools instead of card draw tools.
There's an attack for 6. Prognostic Sphinx is going to stay back on D here. Ollie wants to make sure nothing goes wrong. Cavenaugh will draw a card. See a Siege Rhino in his hand. He's going to start by casting Hero's Downfall. Trying to clear the way for the Rhino here. This is kind of interesting. Yeah, just discard. In. Go to 3.
Yeah, it does have Ollie to 3.
This is a Siege Rhino. That is a Dissolve.
Playing to the out here, you can't imagine Justin expects that to resolve, but he's got to go for it.
Hey, just to hope for the best, and if Ollie's able to cast a spell to trigger the prowess here on the Pearl Lake Ancient, he should be able to get the job done. Show you a Dig Through Time here on the end step. It's going to delve away a bunch of cards. This is a very, very innovative take on blue-black control. The 8 delve cards, it's so interesting because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
It's just, can you reliably cast them? Clearly the answer is yes. I mean, he's sitting at 6-1. He's about to go to 7-1, and he's already up a game. Going to quickly untap here. Yeah. Cast a Thoughtseize, go to 1, negate it. That's enough prowess there for that, and that's going to do it. Aintrazi's going to win this match here over Justin Cavenaugh. 2-0. Blue-black control is moving on to 7-1. I know you've been looking for a control deck. Maybe we found it.
This is almost the right amount to nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he doing too much?